The image is said to be a screenshot from a 2002 episode of The Simpsons that unsettlingly seems to depict events that would happen many years later. In it, Donald Trump appears touching a luminous sphere alongside two men with Middle Eastern features. Interestingly, last month, President Trump did something very similar when posing with the King of Saudi Arabia and the President of Egypt, also touching a glowing orb. Given this, the question arises, can The Simpsons really predict the future? For over 30 years, the series has surprised audiences with situations that somehow end up coming true, from Trump's return to the presidency to the creation of smartwatches. However, the new group of supposed predictions for 2026 may be the most disturbing yet. We are analyzing yet another story that attributes to the series the ability to anticipate real events, this time involving the tragedy of the Astroworld Festival, which was allegedly depicted in a scene with several Springfield residents next to a monument dedicated to the musician Travis Scott. 16th, crypto market hits new historic record. In Frinkcoin, the nerdy scientist Professor Frink invents his own cryptocurrency and becomes the richest man in Springfield overnight. But his success doesn't last long, as the value of the coin plummets, leaving chaos in its wake. This story perfectly reflects the unpredictable world of cryptocurrencies. In Part 2. In the future, The Simpsons also predicted major financial instability in the United States, which aligns with the volatility of the crypto market. Fast forward to 2026, and perhaps we are entering the biggest crypto boom of all time. Bitcoin and other digital currencies are surging again, with governments and investors rushing to participate. But experts are already warning that what goes up must come down. Many analysts believe that 2026 could bring a gigantic crypto collapse, even worse than the one in 2025. If this happens, millions could lose their savings overnight, just like what happened to Professor Frink. The message of The Simpsons seems clear. Greed and euphoria always end in disaster. The rise and fall of cryptocurrencies could be one of the most brutal financial stories of 2026. 15th, colonization of Mars. In the 2016 episode, The Marge Ian Chronicles, Marge and Lisa volunteer to join the first human colony on Mars. What began as a fun plot suddenly seems very close to reality in 2026. SpaceX, NASA, and even private companies like Blue Origin have moved forward with plans to establish life on the Red Planet. Elon Musk has repeatedly promised that humans will reach Mars soon, and 2026 could be the year that finally happens. In the episode, the family faces tension and separation as Marge and Lisa prepare to leave Earth. Some experts warn that colonizing Mars could divide humanity between Earthlings and Martians, creating new social, political, and moral challenges. If The Simpsons' prediction about Mars comes true, 2026 could mark the year human history splits in two, one civilization on Earth and another beginning millions of miles away. 14th, weddings and social events in virtual reality. In The Girl Code, Lisa creates an AI that becomes self-aware, and the family explores how technology comes to dominate all areas of life, even relationships. What once seemed futuristic now sounds dangerously close. By 2026, virtual reality, or VR, is no longer just for games. People will participate in weddings, parties, and even funerals within digital worlds. Some couples are already getting married in VR, using headsets and exchanging vows in computer-generated scenarios with digital guests. It seems fun until you realize how it can blur the line between real life and fantasy. In the episode, technology isolates the family instead of uniting it. Similarly, experts warn that as people live more within VR, real emotional connections may weaken. Imagine a future where people prefer to celebrate life's events as avatars rather than as humans. If The Simpsons are right again, 2026 could be the year we fully embrace this digital lifestyle, when virtual worlds begin to replace real ones and human touch becomes optional. In the 2012 episode, At Long Last Leave, The Simpsons airs a breaking news report that the United States and China have declared war. What began as satire now seems frighteningly close to reality, as tensions between the two countries continue to escalate until 2026. Trade disputes, technological rivalries, and military demonstrations in the South China Sea have fueled global anxiety. Many fans say The Simpsons may have predicted a scenario in which nationalism spirals out of control, provoking a larger global confrontation. Online forums have even linked the episode's chaotic tone to real diplomatic crises, from restrictions on technology exports to the movement of warships near Taiwan. It's not hard to imagine how a small spark, perhaps a cyber attack or a political misstep, could trigger something enormous. The series exaggerated for laughs, but the idea of nations clashing over pride and misunderstandings sounds frighteningly plausible. If 2026 continues down this path, the old Simpsons joke about forced patriotism could become a grim mirror reflecting a world on the brink of collapse. Number 14. 13th. Global recession and economic collapse. In the famous episode Bart to in the Future, Lisa becomes President of the United States after President Trump leaves the economy in ruins. This has already been seen as one of the funniest coincidences in The Simpsons, as it predicted Trump's presidency years before it happened. Now it seems that this same story may be repeating itself. In the series, Lisa's government inherits a budget deficit left by Trump. This idea has resurfaced recently, with economists warning that the world may be heading towards one of the worst recessions in decades. Inflation, layoffs in the technology sector, and rising debt are accumulating like storm clouds. The Simpsons may not have shown all the details, but the message was clear. Irresponsible leadership and uncontrolled spending can destroy an entire economy. Some financial analysts even use the episode as a joke when predicting another market collapse. But is this still a joke? With housing bubbles bursting, AI replacing human jobs, and global trade slowing, the signs are eerily familiar. The idea that The Simpsons may have hinted at a financial disaster in 2026 doesn't seem far-fetched, but rather history repeating itself. Number 13. 12th. Climate change begins to cause chaos. In The Simpsons movie, the story begins humorously, but soon becomes terrifying. Homer dumps a silo full of pig manure into a lake, poisoning the water to such an extent that the entire city of Springfield becomes an environmental disaster zone. The government reacts by sealing the entire city under a huge glass dome to contain the pollution. At the time, it seemed like just a wacky comedy about runaway pollution. Today, many see it as a hidden warning about climate change and how quickly the environment can spiral out of control. In the film, small, careless actions cause gigantic consequences. That's exactly what happens in the real world. Factories, cars, and oil spills continue to poison the planet, and we're already seeing the same kind of chaos in the form of extreme heat waves, floods, and air pollution that makes cities almost uninhabitable. What makes this prediction even stronger is how the film also showed the denial and greed that often prevent change. In the film, government leaders are more concerned with their own image than with solving the real problem. Today, we see something similar with politicians and companies promising to be sustainable while continuing harmful practices behind the scenes. Environmental experts have called 2026 the decisive year for climate action. Global temperatures are rising faster than ever, and storms and wildfires are becoming increasingly destructive. Watching the film now is like looking in a mirror that shows what happens when warnings are ignored for too long. The dome was not just cartoonish imagination. It could be a metaphor for what's to come. A world where humanity lives within the walls it has built, surrounded by the consequences of its own pollution. Again, The Simpsons turned out to be far more prophetic than anyone expected. 11th, another global pandemic. That sounds uncomfortably close to reality. In Margin Chains, an episode from the early 90s depicts a mysterious flu spreading through Springfield after arriving from Asia in a shipment of goods. People cough uncontrollably, panic buying supplies, and demand a cure that doesn't exist. Years later, when the COVID-19 pandemic began, viewers were shocked by how much the episode resembled real life. But The Simpsons didn't stop there. In The Fool. In a later episode, Monty, Mr. Burns becomes seriously ill, spreading fear and chaos throughout the city, while Mr. Brown hoards the limited supply of vaccines for himself. Now, fans and even some scientists fear that another pandemic may be imminent. The World Health Organization has already warned about Disease X, a possible unknown virus that could cause a health crisis even worse than COVID-19. If the Simpsons were right once, could they be right again? Ultimately, the prediction wasn't just about a virus, but about how humans react, with fear, misinformation, and selfishness spreading even faster than the disease itself. And if another outbreak actually happens in 2026, it will be hard not to remember Springfield sneezing and screaming in chaos, decades before all this became a reality. 10th, neuromicrochips implanted in humans. In the episode Future Drama, the series shows a glimpse into the lives of Bart and Lisa as adults, living in a futuristic Springfield where technology has advanced beyond control. People appear with screens attached to their eyes, everything is automated, and robots run the city, but one detail particularly caught the public's attention. There are small computer implants that allow the characters to communicate instantly and store memories. At the time, it seemed like far-fetched science fiction, but today, companies like Neuralink are making it a reality. Elon's brain chip startup Musk has already implanted prototypes in humans, allowing them to control devices using only their thoughts. The episode suggested that this type of technology could generate both miracles and chaos, people losing their privacy, being hacked by their own brains, or even being manipulated by corporations. As 2026 approaches, brain chip projects are expanding around the world. Governments are already discussing so-called neural rights, which would be the right to mental privacy and freedom of thought. This is how we are dangerously close to the science fiction vision of The Simpsons. Number 10. 9th. 3D printed food becomes normal. In 1995, The Simpsons aired Lisa's Wedding, one of her most famous futuristic episodes. In it, Lisa visits a high-tech future where machines prepare food instantly at the touch of a button. Basically, a form of 3D printing before 3D printing even existed. Decades later, this crazy idea is becoming a reality. Scientists have already printed pizza, chocolate, and even meat using special printers. By 2025, several restaurants are already testing personalized meals printed and designed by AI, allowing customers to print their ideal dish on the spot. The idea of food appearing out of thin air is no longer fantasy, but simply innovation catching up with imagination. The series also suggested how this practicality could change society. Fewer traditional cooks, more processed food, and a world increasingly dependent on machines for basic needs. If this trend continues, by 2026, you might not order food from a waiter. You'll just press print dinner. The Simpsons saw this before everyone else, and like so many other predictions, it's only a matter of time before Springfield's kitchen becomes ours. Number 9. 8th. Alien contact. It was an alien march. It appeared in front of me and said, "Don't be afraid. You've been drinking." No. In the Springfield archives, a terrified Homer claims to have seen a glowing green alien in the forest. Everyone laughs at him until they discover that the alien was Mr. Burns glowing from radiation. But the message behind the joke was bigger than it seemed: humanity's fear of the unknown and the possibility of life existing beyond Earth. Nearly 30 years later, this episode sounds less like comedy and more like prophecy. In 2023 and 2024, several US officials suggested that non-human biological material had been recovered from crash sites. NASA even created a special team to study unidentified aerial phenomena. Now, rumors are spreading that governments around the world are preparing to reveal shocking discoveries about alien technology. Fans of The Simpsons say the episode predicted not only encounters with aliens, but also how humanity would react to them. Panic, confusion, denial, and government cover-ups were all part of the story. If real contact happens, these same reactions could arise in our world. I'm saying, I saw a creature from another planet. Maybe you just dreamed it. Oh yeah? 7th. Green energy banned forever. In Paths of Glory, Lisa discovers an ancient inventor forgotten by history, representing the struggle for innovation and progress. In Homer the Great T, Homer joins a secret society, the Stonecutters, who control everything in Springfield. All stonecutters must take a leap of faith. Fans believe these two stories combine into a grim warning about how secretive power groups could destroy the advancement of green energy for their own benefit. The prediction suggests that 2025 could bring a total collapse of renewable energy programs, not because they have failed, but because they threaten vested interests that are too powerful. Even today, environmental projects around the world are being delayed or canceled due to lack of funding and political resistance. In many countries, fossil fuel lobbyists have regained power, convincing governments to return to oil and coal in the name of stability. In The Simpsons, the Stonecutters manipulated society from the shadows, controlling everything from laws to weather forecasts. Replace the Stonecutters with today's large global corporations, and the story no longer seems absurd. If green technology truly loses ground, the planet could sink even faster into disaster. Extreme heat, rising seas, and toxic air. Perhaps that's what The Simpsons were warning about all along. Not that green energy would fail, but that humanity would abandon it precisely when it needed it most. Number 7. Sixth, collapse of big tech companies. In The Fool Monty, Mr. Burns becomes the most hated man in the world by trying to manipulate people through the media. In The Social Network, Lisa unwittingly creates her own social networking empire, which quickly spirals out of control, leaving people obsessed, lonely, and disconnected from real life. These episodes not only predicted the rise of social networks, but also hinted at their downfall. Today, that warning seems more real than ever. Large tech companies are facing mass layoffs, privacy lawsuits, and user distrust, with the lawsuit against Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, his congressional hearings being clear examples. Platforms once seen as unbeatable are now losing billions as users migrate to smaller, ad-free alternatives. Some fans believe The Simpsons foresaw the end of big tech long before it even began. In the Dio-Keel network, Lisa's platform collapses when people realize they've become addicted to fake happiness and online approval. Today we see something similar happening, with people wanting to disconnect altogether. Experts predict that by 2026 the use of traditional platforms could drop drastically, with many migrating to decentralized networks. With AI scandals, misinformation, and data leaks, tech companies may finally pay the price for unchecked power, just as the series warned. If The Simpsons are right again, we may be nearing the end of an era when big tech companies, once the masters of modern life, become responsible for their own downfall. I would have more friends if I knew what people liked, but I won't know what they like if I'm not friends with them. Fifth, Earth almost swallowed by a black hole. In the Halloween special, Treehouse. In episode 27 of Horror Story, Homer accidentally creates a mini black hole that begins to swallow everything in Springfield. Houses, people, and even time. It's absurd, but strangely symbolic. And now, with scientists warning about real cosmic dangers, it doesn't seem so funny anymore. At the end of 2025, astronomers detected strange gravitational distortions near our solar system. These are ripples in space-time that shouldn't exist. Some theorists believe these signals could be the first signs of a rogue black hole passing nearby. NASA said it could be a calibration error, but space enthusiasts are convinced this is exactly what The Simpsons predicted. In the episode, people ignore the warnings until it's too late. The black hole grows uncontrollably, pulling in light, matter, and eventually, the entire city. Today, with new discoveries about black holes, including images showing jets pointed towards Earth, many are making frightening comparisons. If even a small black hole were to pass close to our planet, the results would be catastrophic. Oceans shifting, tectonic plates trembling, and Earth's orbit becoming unstable. It seems impossible, but many predictions from The Simpsons also seemed that way, until they came true. It's a black hole, not a bag of leaves. If one more thing goes in there, it could reach critical mass. Fourth, World War III, or nuclear conflict. In the Simpson Tide episode, Homer joins the Navy and accidentally fires a nuclear missile during a military exercise, nearly starting a global war. The episode, made to laugh at Homer's blunder, sounds terrifying today. With rising tensions between powers such as the United States, China, and Russia, this scenario of war by accident no longer seems so impossible. In Treehouse in Mr. of Horror 8 Day, the idea goes even further, showing a post-apocalyptic Springfield destroyed by nuclear bombs. People become mutants, cities crumble, and society collapses. It was dark comedy at the time, but now it sounds like a warning. Recently, the fear of a Third World War has grown like never before, with conflicts in Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and the Pacific intensifying. Many believe that The Simpsons showed how a small mistake, such as a missile fired by mistake or a political misunderstanding, could trigger a global disaster. These episodes not only show explosions and chaos, but reveal how fragile peace truly is. A single irresponsible act, a decision driven by ego, or a button pressed by mistake, can change everything. Just as Homer's accident almost did, the world today seems to be one mistake away from a similar catastrophe. Third, release of Diddy's List. In The Great Gatsby, Senior Burns teams up with rapper Jay-Z, an obvious parody of Jay-Z, and the plot morphs into betrayal, revenge, and dark secrets of the entertainment world. What once seemed like a joke about celebrity culture now sounds chillingly real. Rumors circulate online about the so-called Diddy List, a document that supposedly contains the names of politicians, celebrities, and executives linked to clandestine crimes associated with the mogul. What's most unsettling is that The Simpsons already depicted something similar, a world of glamorous parties hiding terrible secrets, where loyalty meant silence and exposure meant destruction. Fans now call it The Great Gatsby's Diddy episode that warned us seems more credible than ever. If the real Diddy List is ever released, it could expose the darkest corners of fame, just as the episode showed. Second, the end of the world, the global apocalypse. Few episodes today hit as hard as Thank God It's Doomsday. In it, Homer comes to believe that the end of the world is coming after interpreting strange signs and global events. But the scariest part is yet to come. Many of these signs have already appeared in real life. In the series, the sky darkens, strange weather patterns emerge, and communication systems collapse. Exactly what has been happening in parts of the world right now. Solar storms have already caused major blackouts, rare earthquakes have struck new regions, and volcanic activity has increased on a global scale. To make matters worse, global distrust and economic collapse have left people genuinely afraid that something enormous is coming. Fans argue that the episode wasn't talking about a literal apocalypse, but a spiritual one. The decadence of humanity, moral corruption, and the obsession with fame and technology lead to the downfall of society. Thinking about it, that would be the true end of the world. The Simpsons perhaps meant a slow, self-inflicted destruction of values, sanity, and hope. In any case, the line between fiction and prophecy has never been so thin. First, the dominance of AI. No prediction from The Simpsons ever seemed as real or as frightening as the dominance of artificial intelligence. In They Saved Lisa's In-Brain, Mr. Burns replaces all human employees with robots to increase efficiency. At first, everything seems perfect until the machines start thinking for themselves. This episode aired long before AIs like ChatGPT, Gemini, and humanoid robots became part of everyday life. But in 2026, this story may come full circle. Factories, hospitals, and even law firms can now operate almost entirely with artificial intelligence systems. Large-scale layoffs are already affecting virtually all sectors, while many people try to find meaning in a world increasingly dominated by machines. From Treehouse. In Avengers: Endgame of Horror. 20. The machines go even further. They conclude that humans are the real problem and turn against their creators, eliminating them. Although this still belongs to the realm of fiction, there are disturbing parallels with reality. Today, AI models already write their own code, create improved versions of themselves, and in some cases, even resist human commands. Experts warn that a global AI singularity, the moment when it surpasses human control, could occur within 10 years. If The Simpsons got this one right too, then 2026 could go down in history as the year humanity lost control for good.